Hi, welcome to Think Human. I'm Chris, and in this video I want to talk about how we could live forever, or possibly at least extend our lifespans significantly. So there are a couple of ways going about this, but first of all, let's get a really simple understanding of what aging is. And essentially what aging is damage to our bodies, and more particularly damage to the DNA in our bodies, the building blocks, the kind of schematics of how to build our body and the parts of our bodies, all the molecular mechanisms and all the way up to bigger structures like organs and all of this. So DNA helps us to helps our cells to build this kind of stuff, this necessary, vital, essential stuff. Everything we're made up of, DNA helps to build, is the blueprints for it. So as we're younger, our bodies are good and well off, and so we always get damage to our DNA, our genetic code, either by environments, by diseases, random mutations. Everything can happen, and this sort of DNA, like something goes a bit wrong, like it's composed of different letters and some letter is misplaced or some part is kind of different. But if you're young, our bodies are really good at recognizing this kind of difference, this damage, and it's repaired, and this kind of broken DNA is not copied. We make new ones, better ones, and this goes on and on and on. And actually every minute, like millions and millions and millions of new DNA molecules are created in our bodies. It's crazy. So as we get older, however, this kind of mechanism of repairing the damage of our DNA gets less effective, and essentially by the end of it, the older we are, the more damage accumulates, more and more and more damage, until eventually our bodies can no longer repair and cope with this. So some kind of mutations happen, and this is how we see all these age-related diseases that we normally didn't have long time ago in hunter-gatherer tribes, because they usually died for something else, like predation or like some kind of other random disease. We didn't used to have really age-related diseases, but now we do, because we have medicine to eliminate everything else. So what's left is this kind of really basic fundamental part of our biology. But there is absolutely nothing in the laws of physics that says that we couldn't stop this aging. There is absolutely no real physical reason why we have to die, really. There are even a few examples in biology. For example, there is this immortal jellyfish that essentially starts out as a small polyp, then finds its way, swims around a little bit, finds some place to sort of make a nest, then starts growing as a plant, then it grows older, and finally, if it gets old enough or gets some damage, then it releases polyps again, and then the cycle starts over again. It swims around again, finds another place, etc., etc. It can do this like indefinitely. We have in the labs, people have seen it like do it like so many times, like was it like hundreds of times. Like, it's insane. No one has ever actually seen the cycle end, so as far as we know, it's pretty much immortal. So it's possible in some sense, in literal sense, in biology. So there are some ways how we could do it. There are people currently, right now, today, seriously studying on how we could do this. One thing is to actually directly find ways of reversing this damage to DNA, to find ways either of protecting better our genetic code, or ways of actually repairing it, to sort of boost our system in a really fundamental small scale level, to sort of help this kind of mechanism of repairing the genetic damage. Another way would be some really small nanotechnology. So these are machines that are nanobots, pretty much molecular size, smaller than your blood cells, and it can go into the bloodstream essentially, and then find whatever place needs fixing, and it can do some molecular magic and fix whatever is wrong with the particular cell or wherever part of body it happens to be in. There's some other a bit crazier proposals. Yeah, there are some other crazy proposals. So before that, there are like simple things like you can, switch around some parts of the body. Let's say that maybe you have some disease with your liver. You can 3D print a new liver that's like perfectly made for you, and it works way better, and you can do that. Maybe something happens with your heart. You can replace your heart, etc. You see where this is going. You can eventually replace pretty much everything. The brain is a tricky thing, however, and a lot of philosophical questions about consciousness also come into play when we start talking about that. Some other things would be maybe mind uploading. This is really controversial, and I also made a video about copying versus moving, which is this really same issue. Like, would you upload your brain, so to speak? Would you just make a copy of it? Or would you actually move your consciousness into another substrate, into computer or another robotic body or whatever it happens to be? So yeah, I wouldn't really want to do that. That's a whole can of worms I do not want to go into. But it's really interesting to think about. And most people, if you're more or less a young person, I would say if you're below 40, definitely, maybe below 50, then quite certainly it seems very likely that these kind of age reversing or stopping treatments will be available in our lifetime. So I think definitely in my lifetime, I'm quite young. I think perhaps hopefully in my parents' lifetime, as we all would hope. But it is close, and it's again nothing in the laws of physics says that we have to die. There is absolutely no good reason why we should die. This is just something in biology and natural selection, something that has come along with, biological organisms. Like, if you never died, then, it's convenient to die because, your younglings can grow and evolve and do more things in the world, and otherwise their resources would go away and, you wouldn't have enough for everyone, etc. All of these issues. There are also some problems about, overpopulation. People worry about this kind of thing. I also made a video talking about this exact same worry that people have. Essentially, by that time, we have such technology, we do not need to worry about that, really, if we could ever, stop aging. So this does seem close, and we live in an amazing time where many different technologies are coming together to sort of build up on each other in an exponential sense. So fields before that were not related, like computing and biotechnology, now come together, and we see this exponential growth and more brilliant minds going into the fields and thinking about this. So I think we'll definitely begin to see quite soon serious breakthroughs in these fields, and it's a fascinating time to be alive, whatever your moral opinions are or whatever, but this is something that will be possible to do in not too distant future. So this is just some thoughts about how could we cure aging, and yeah, hope you got some interesting thoughts from it. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.